The NBA draft rigged? The fact that the Mavericks traded Luka in February and now they have the #1 pick has a lot of people suspicious if the NBA draft lottery is rigged. Today I'm going to give you an argument from both perspectives, how it could be rigged and how it could not be rigged, and I will let you decide in the comments down below what you think it is. Let's start with the rigged perspective because obviously that is the talk of today. So these were the odds for every team in the lottery on their chance to get the #1 pick in this year's draft. As you can see, the Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance to jump up to the #1 pick. The top 3 teams, who were the worst teams by record, have a 14% chance each, giving them the best odds to get a #1 pick. If you don't remember, in 2019, they changed the odds because these used to be the odds for each team. The reasoning that the odds were changed was to prevent tanking, which we will get to a little bit in this video, but instead of a 14% chance, the #1 team used to have a 25% chance at the #1 pick. With the old odds, the Dallas Mavericks would have been team number 11, and instead of a 2% chance, although it was 1.8, but close enough, they would have had a 0.8% chance, making it an even smaller chance that they would have gotten the #1 pick. To discuss a conspiracy theory on this year's draft, we have to go back to 2019 when this all started. In 2019, the Lakers got Anthony Davis from the Pelicans in that big blockbuster trade. So a lot of people were questionable then about, was it rigged to get the Pelicans the #1 pick? But again, we're going to go back to 2025, but I just wanted to pose this because again, we're giving the rigged perspective on how deep these, conspiracies run. So here's where the argument for it being rigged comes into play. Unlike the Pelicans, who had a 6% chance to get the #1 pick, which is still not great odds, but that's, a decent margin compared to 1.8%. So while some people say that was a coincidence back then, for this one, they are not convinced of that. Because let's talk about how it went down. Because this is not the Pelicans trading Anthony Davis, who has not gotten them out of the first round and stuff like that, and they are just not having playoff success. We are talking about a 25-year-old Luka Doncic who just took the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals this past season. The team had gone further than they have ever gone since Dirk had them in the finals and obviously won the championship. So trading someone like Luka, who is a perennial all-star, first-team All-NBA, and literally just took the team to the NBA Finals, is questionable by some people. And then the fact that the Lakers got him obviously made it more questionable for people. And then the return that they got, again, it's nothing against Anthony Davis, great player, but for every other team on the market, he could have gotten 5, 6, 7 first-round picks. Like the fact that he only got 1 first-round pick, and Anthony Davis basically, MX Christie, shout out to him, but we know the package, that was not the best package for Luka. Everybody knows that. After this goes down, the fans are revolting. They are probably not gonna, some people will still support the team, but there is not going to be revenue coming in for the Mavericks the way it was. They are turning on the franchise because Luka was their guy. There was a report that the Mavs could lose $1 billion because of this trade. The rest of the season is messy. Kyrie tears his ACL, which is so sad. We hope he heals up soon. And so the Mavericks just don't look like they have a bright future right then and there. Until NBA draft lottery night comes around, and who lands the #1 pick? The Dallas Mavericks. The team who traded the generational superstar for a potential generational superstar now in Cooper Flag, who is going to be the #1 pick, who everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people think is going to be a generational superstar like, Luka or better, whatever, but just his level of superstardom. Meanwhile, a team like the Wizards, who had one of the best odds to land the #1 pick, doesn't even land in the top 5. So a trade that was concluded by a lot of people as one of the worst, if not the worst trades in NBA history. Again, we'll see how it, plays out and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that is what people are, calling it, the Luka trade. A few months later becomes Cooper Flag in return. And one more thing to throw into this. The NBA was having a ratings problem. So trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers with LeBron definitely helps the ratings. So people, again, I'm just fueling the rigged conspiracy right now, and then we're going to do the non-rigged conspiracy after. But the insinuation is that you trade them to the Lakers, you fix the ratings problems, and in return, you give the Mavericks the #1 pick because their franchise is in turmoil right now, and they get a generational superstar back. Now to the non-rigged conspiracy. Since 2019, like I told you, they have changed the odds. It used to be 25% for the #1 or the worst team to get the #1 pick. So as you could see, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, the teams with the worst odds, or the best odds, got the number one pick. So the Timberwolves, for example, got Anthony Edwards, who a lot of people deem is a top 10 player in the NBA. Is just getting better and is on his way to superstardom, if not already, quantified as a superstar. So like the Timberwolves got him and they had the worst record in 2021. Although Cade, had his injuries, we see Cade is on his way, to superstardom as well if he stays healthy. So the Pistons got him and they had the worst odds. Same thing with Paolo Banchero. We see how he's ascending. And obviously Victor Wembanyama, we know, right? Like superstar written all over him. And the Pelicans, like I said in 2019, 6% is obviously not 14, but that's not something super crazy. Like again, we could fuel the conspiracy theories here too because it happened right after they traded Anthony Davis and also to the Lakers, ironically. So I can understand how that's a conspiracy too. But like, again, we're focusing on the Mavericks one because that is really the talk of the town. And so as you can see, only 3 teams out of the 7 have gotten a number one pick that were not projected as the best odds to get a number one pick. So in the argument against a rigged theory, you could say, well, most of the time, or more often than not, the team with the worst odds has gotten, the number one pick. And this was just a coincidence, a crazy odds that worked out for the Mavericks. So again, I'm going to let you guys decide in the comments down below. Was it rigged or was it not rigged? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts.